Can frequency therapy help your PTSD? Let's find out for free.
Hi there. Do you have any idea what causes pain? What causes disease? Maybe what causes mental anxiousness? And even what causes infections? I have PTSD. So, in a minute, I'll tell you how I solved it. But before I do, trust this. When I solved it, my wife was happier, my kids were more inclined to hang out with us, our family healed, I was less triggered in the world and far less likely to have dark thoughts. In fact, I'm so happy with my life, I agreed to put my face out there to talk to you. In the midst of a pandemic, my life got better, not worse, because of a choice I made. Now that's a lot of things I mentioned, right? Sounds like they're all unrelated. Well, no, that's not true. You see, the pharmaceutical industry has decided that every problem you have needs a drug to cope with it. I am currently on 0 prescriptions. I take vitamins and supplements for sure, but I'm not going to tell you about a pill. In fact, I'm not a big fan of big pharma. I know, because I have a relative that ended up on about 14 medications. Turned out for nothing at all. Literally, there was nothing wrong with this person when they sought treatment, except they had an accident, a slip and fall on ice, and they had a joint break and inflammation around it. They were started on a course of anti-inflammatory prescriptions, then pain relievers, and over the course of 2 years, all kinds of complications arose. There was inflated blood pressure, depression, weight gain, anxiousness, opioid addiction, increased alcohol consumption. The escalation of what was a simple slip and fall accident turned into an unbelievable health crisis, a true life and death issue for this family member. Now, what did that do to the relationships around him, their job, their family, their kids? Oh, you think I'm talking about an old person? No. No, this happened to a woman who's 37 years old. Her life became a train wreck. This is someone I adore. Her life's a mess in the middle of the pandemic. Okay, so what we have now is a person with a physical injury and pain, and this turned into real body damage. Organs were being affected. This turned into emotional and mental issues. A little deal turned into a landslide. Now we stopped it. How do you suppose we did that? I'm no doctor. I'm just a regular average Joe, yet fortunately I'm pretty well connected to a group of scientists that I've worked with for a few years. One of my associates, who incidentally is not a doctor either, he's literally a rocket scientist, he said the weirdest thing to me. In the middle of this experience with this gal, I was having a beer with my friend, and frankly, I was belly aching over the stress. And he said the weirdest thing. Have you had a frequency analysis done on her? What? A frequency analysis? What's that? Well, in about 15 minutes, he explained to me, like most scientists, he really got into the weeds that were pretty deep, yet once I got through them, I had a pretty good grip on what was going on here. What my friend, the rocket scientist, shared in practical terms was simple. He said, in physics, we've discovered that everything's made out of the same building blocks, quarks and atoms. The world's made out of these atoms, and then they exist at a frequency, and then they organize at that frequency into molecules, and that vibrates at a frequency. So your table might have the frequency of oak, so it's an oak table. And your chair vibrates at the frequency of steel, so it's steel. Everything has a natural frequency that it wants to vibrate out. When it gets out of that frequency, it is in distress. Now, when it's a biological object like you, like your organs or your joints or even your emotions, when they get out of ideal frequency, you get distressed. My relative started out with one disrupted frequency that turned into 3, that turned into 5, and then more. Did you know there are frequencies that can go after viruses? Frequencies that go after pain, even negative emotions. Did you know that 432 hertz, now that's a frequency, is the frequency of happiness? In fact, if you listen to music at that frequency, you will become more relaxed and happier in minutes. You can't help it. There is real research to prove that. Now, if that's true, and it is, imagine what else could be managed with frequency. A whole lot. Now, once we started utilizing frequency on Sherry, now these were silent frequencies on her body, one by one, her issues were solved, one by one, all of them. It took time, but it didn't take more prescriptions. She got her life back. So in the midst of this, I started to take my own proverbial medicine here. I leaned into frequencies and started self-treating my own PTSD as an experiment. You can probably gather by now how that's turned out for me. I wouldn't be here talking to you about this if I did not only believe it, but have seen it with my own eyes, then experienced it myself. The future of medicine is not continuing to cut people open with scalpels and sew them up with needles and thread and staples. You know that, right? There's a lot more Star Trek and Star Wars ahead of us, less Wild West. So I'm here talking to you because you most likely have PTSD or someone close to you seems to have it. There is no dealing with it. There's no not dealing with it either. It's real, and we either process it in a healthy way or an unhealthy way. I want to ask you to take a leap of faith. Follow the link here below in this video and consider applying for a study for low-frequency tools to manage your PTSD like I did. May not be for everyone, yet if it works for you or someone in your life, wouldn't that be wonderful? It has been for me. Energy is saving lives. Frequency is solving problems. I hope you find the strength to investigate this on your own and discover that it's worth the risk, which is actually no risk at all. Click to learn how Resona frequency energy may help you.